The crash site, it was a quiet night in the forest. The air was cold. The trees stood still. Only the sound of crickets could be heard. Jake was walking alone, flashlight in hand. He often came here to clear his mind. But tonight felt different. A loud sound broke the silence. It was like thunder, but deeper, heavier. The ground shook slightly. Birds flew out from the trees. Jake stopped walking. He looked up. There in the sky, a ball of fire was falling fast. It crashed behind the hills. With a boom, Jake's heart raced. He wasn't sure what he just saw. A plane. A meteor. He followed the sound, pushing through thick trees. Smoke filled the air. The smell of burnt metal hit his nose. Soon he reached a clearing, and what he saw made him freeze. A spaceship. Not from Earth. Not anything he had ever seen. It was big, silver, and broken. One wing was crushed. Strange lights blinked weakly. Something hissed from inside. It was real, not a dream. Slowly, Jake walked closer. Part of the ship had opened like a door. Fire burned near the edges. Pieces of metal lay everywhere. It looked like something, or someone, had crawled out. He saw footprints. Small. Light. Not human. His eyes followed the trail, and then he saw her. She was lying on the ground near a tree. Her skin glowed faint blue. Her hair was white like snow. Her eyes were closed. She looked young. Her clothes were strange. Tight silver suit torn at the shoulder. Her arm was bleeding. Dark purple blood. Jake stepped closer, careful not to make a sound. Was she alive? He bent down. Her face looked calm but weak. He reached out and touched her arm. Her eyes opened. Bright blue. Glowing. She looked at him. Not with fear, but curiosity. Then, without a word, she grabbed his face and kissed him. Jake's eyes went wide. He didn't move. Didn't even breathe. The kiss lasted only a few seconds. Then she pulled back and looked at his arm. His right arm, the one he had hurt 2 days ago. A bad sprain from falling off his bike. He looked down. The pain was gone. He moved his arm slowly. Perfectly fine, no pain, not even a bruise. He looked at her again. She smiled gently, like she had done something kind. "You're healed," she said in a soft, musical voice. Jake was too shocked to reply. She tried to sit up, but her side hurt. She winced. He moved quickly to help her. "Who are you?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. She looked at the sky. "I fell," she whispered. "From orbit. My ship was hit. I thought I was going to die." "You crashed here," Jake said. "I saw it," she nodded, then pointed at him. "You were hurt. I saw pain in your body. So I gave you medicine." Jake blinked. "You mean the kiss?" She tilted her head. "Isn't that your healing method?" Jake laughed a little, nervous. No. Not really." She looked confused. "But you are healed?" she said. He couldn't argue with that. Then a soft, beeping sound came from the trees. Her eyes widened. "They're looking for me," she said. "Who?" Jake asked. "My enemies. I escaped them, but they will track me here." Suddenly, a red light flashed through the trees. Something was scanning the area. She grabbed his hand. "We have to hide." They ran into the forest deeper and deeper away from the crash. The red light followed for a while, then turned away. They stopped near an old cave. She sat down, breathing hard. Jake looked at her wound. It was still bleeding. "You need help," he said. "I'll be fine," she replied. "But you... If you're hurt again, I'll kiss you." Jake looked at her. She was serious. He sat beside her, confused, amazed, and maybe a little scared. Who was this girl? Why did her kiss heal him? And what kind of danger was coming next? He didn't know, but he was sure of one thing. His life would never be normal again. "She thinks I'm dying," The cave was cold. The forest outside was quiet now, but Jake couldn't relax. His heart still raced. The alien girl, who still hadn't told him her name, sat quietly beside him watching the entrance. Her arm was still bleeding. He took off his hoodie and tore a piece to wrap around her wound. She watched him carefully. "You are kind," she said softly. "For a human." "I try," Jake said with a half smile. She looked confused again. "Try? It means—" "I do. My best," he explained. She nodded slowly, repeating the word. "Try." The silence returned. Jake didn't know what to ask first. Who she was, where she came from, why her kiss healed him. But before he could speak, his stomach twisted. Sharp pain hit him hard. He groaned and leaned forward, holding his chest. Her eyes went wide. "You're hurt," she gasped. "No, it's okay," Jake said through clenched teeth. "Probably just stress. Or maybe something I ate." Before he could finish, she leaned forward and kissed him again. His eyes opened wide. Again, the same soft warmth spread through his body. The pain faded. "What are you doing?" he asked, breathless. "Healing you," she said calmly. "You were dying." "No, I wasn't," he said. "It was just a stomach cramp." She blinked. "But you looked in pain." He sighed. "Pain doesn't always mean death." She tilted her head, clearly not understanding. "In my world," she said, "pain is the first sign. If you do not remove it fast, it becomes death." Jake stared at her. "So, your people kiss each other to stop death?" She nodded seriously. "Yes, we transfer life energy. Only works if we mean it." "Mean it? We must care," she said. "Fake kiss does nothing." Didn't know what to say to that. This was getting weirder by the minute. Suddenly, a loud metallic sound echoed through the forest. Both of them froze. Then came a humming noise. Low, powerful, not from any machine Jake had ever heard. The ground trembled slightly. The sky outside flashed red for a second. She stood up fast. "They found the crash," she whispered. "They are scanning the area." Jake moved toward the cave entrance, peeking through the leaves. A black floating drone passed over the trees, scanning with a red beam. "Who are they?" he asked. "Hunters," she said. "From my home system. They follow orders without question. They think I stole a weapon." "Did you?" She didn't answer. Her eyes were on the red beam getting closer. Suddenly, the cave entrance flashed. The scanner beam was right on them. "Run!" she shouted. They dashed out the other side of the cave. Jake could hear the drone behind them. It let out a high-pitched shriek, and a bright blue bolt shot past them, hitting a tree. It exploded. Jake ducked. The alien girl grabbed his hand, pulling him through thick vines. They ran and ran, breath burning in their lungs. They reached a hill and dove behind a large rock. The drone hovered above for a moment, then moved away, searching elsewhere. They waited in silence. Jake was panting, hard. Sweat covered his face. He felt dizzy. His vision blurred. She looked at him, alarmed. "You're hurt again." "I'm just tired," Jake said weakly. She leaned close, placed her hand on his cheek. "Your body is losing energy," she said. "You need healing." Before he could argue, she kissed him again. But this time, nothing happened. Jake pulled back, confused. The dizziness didn't go away. In fact, it got worse. "It's not working," he whispered. Her eyes filled with panic. "Why isn't it working?" Jake dropped to his knees. Everything felt heavy. She placed her hands on his chest, her voice shaking. "Stay awake. Don't sleep." "What's happening?" "Your energy is falling too fast," she said. "This is not normal sickness. This is something else." He collapsed onto the ground. His head hit the dirt. Darkness started to pull him in. "No," she screamed. Tears ran down her glowing cheeks. She closed her eyes and kissed him again, this time longer, deeper, holding his face tightly. A soft blue light glowed around them, but Jake didn't move. She pulled back, shaking. Her body trembled. Her hands lit up faintly. She whispered something in her own language, words Jake couldn't understand. Then, she placed both hands over his heart. Her voice was louder now, stronger. She was chanting something, a wave of energy pulsed out. Birds flew from the trees, animals ran, and then Jake opened his eyes. He gasped loudly, pulling in air like a drowning man. She smiled weakly. "You're alive," she whispered. What was that?" "I gave you more than a kiss," she said softly. "I gave you part of my life." Jake looked at her, shocked. "You didn't have to." "I thought you were dying," she said. "And I couldn't let that happen." She looked away, embarrassed. "You are different. You are kind." A silence fell between them, but deep in the forest the drone had returned. And this time, it wasn't alone. Hunted Jake's heartbeat was still fast, not from running but from what had just happened. He was alive. But how? She had kissed him again. Yes, but this time, something more had happened. Light. Energy. Something deep. Something powerful. He felt it inside his chest even now, warm, strange, like her soul had touched his. She sat beside him, breathing hard. She looked tired, pale. Her glowing skin was dimmer now. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, but weak." "Why?" "Gave you too much," she said. "My energy, my life. I didn't know it would take that much to bring you back." Jake sat back against a tree. His hand rested on his chest where her hands had been. The memory of it still burned. "You saved my life," he said softly. "You saved mine first," she replied. At the crash. For a moment they just looked at each other. No words, no sound, only the quiet forest around them. But peace never lasted long. A sharp sound broke the stillness, a mechanical screech. The trees shook as something heavy moved through them. Then, another sound. Not just one. 3 drones. Jake stood quickly. "They found us." She was already up. Her silver suit flickered slightly. Some kind of energy shield was trying to repair itself but failing. "They're calling the hunter," she whispered. "What hunter?" "The machine that never stops. They only send it when they want someone. Erased forever." Jake's stomach turned cold. "We have to move," she said. They ran. Again. Through thick trees, jumping over fallen logs, ducking under branches. Jake's legs ached, but he pushed on. She was fast, lighter than him, even injured. Her feet barely touched the ground. Behind them, the forest lit up in red. Trees burst into flames as the drones fired. One beam passed inches from Jake's back, burning his shirt. They reached an old, abandoned ranger cabin. Wood walls, broken door, half the roof missing. "Inside," she said. They slipped in. She slammed the door shut and pressed her hand against it. Her fingers glowed faint blue. "What are you doing?" Jake asked. "Hiding us, energy cloak, short time only." The sound of the drones came closer, then stopped. A red light scanned the cabin but didn't see them. Jake held his breath. After a minute, the sound moved away. "It worked," she said, falling to her knees. "But it will not work again." Jake helped her sit down. "What do they want from you?" She looked at him. Her eyes were sad, full of something more than fear. "A weapon," she said. "Something I stole, but not to harm, to protect." "What kind of weapon?" She looked down. "A living one." Jake's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" She didn't answer, just closed her eyes. "I was part of a program. My body was changed, enhanced. They trained us to kill without pain, to heal without feeling. But I broke the rule." "What rule?" "I felt something." She looked at him again. "I felt mercy, I couldn't kill. So I ran. And now they want to erase me. Jake stared at her. They turned you into a weapon? She nodded. But you make me feel human. And that's why they want to destroy me. He didn't know what to say. How do you comfort someone like that? Someone who had been used, changed, hunted? Then the ground shook. A new sound filled the air, not mechanical like the drones. This was heavier, deeper. Boom, boom, boom. Something was coming. She stood up fast. The hunter. Through the broken roof, Jake saw it. Tall, black, metal and flesh mixed. 4 legs, glowing red eyes, spikes on its back. It moved like a machine but growled like a beast. Run, Jake asked. No, she said. It's too fast. We hide deeper. She led him through a hidden trapdoor in the floor. It led to a tunnel, dark, narrow, cold. They moved quickly. Above them, the hunter entered the cabin. Its voice was deep, not loud but full of threat. Target not found. Initiate scent scan. Jake and the girl kept moving. The tunnel ended in a small underground chamber. A lab. Old, dusty. Human-made. What is this place? Jake asked. It's safe, she said. They can't scan through lead. Lead? Metal in the walls. It blocks them. She leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. Jake walked around the room. He saw old tools, papers, and broken machines. He found a first aid kit. Pulled it open. Inside, wrapped in cloth, was something strange. A blue crystal. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. What is this? He asked. She opened her eyes and gasped. Where did you get that? She asked. It was in the box, Jake said. She stepped forward. That's part of me. What? It's my core. They removed it when I escaped. I've been weak ever since. She touched the crystal, and it glowed brighter. Her wounds began to close. Her skin lit up again. Her strength returned. You found it, she said. You brought me back. But before Jake could speak, the wall behind them shook. The hunter had found the tunnel entrance. He's coming, Jake said. She looked at him, eyes glowing. Then it's time I stop running. The secret of the kisses, the ground trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. The distant roar of the hunter echoed through the tunnel like thunder underwater. Jake turned to the alien girl. Her hand still held the glowing blue crystal. It floated slightly above her palms now, pulsing brighter with each second. He's almost here, Jake said, fear creeping into his voice. She didn't answer. Her eyes were closed. The energy from the core was flowing back into her body. Her hair glowed white again. The cuts on her skin vanished like melting ice. Jake took a step closer. Hey, are you okay? She opened her eyes, fully bright now, shining like stars. I remember everything, she said. My training, my mission, the truth. The truth? Jake asked. She nodded slowly. The real reason I was made, and why I kissed you. Jake blinked. Wait, you were made? Yes, she said. I wasn't born. I was grown, built, created to look human, but stronger, faster, with healing power made from love. Jake frowned. From love? She stepped forward, her voice soft. My people believed emotions were weakness, so they tried to control them. But there was one thing they couldn't fake. Care, real care. They found that when one of us truly cared about someone, we could heal them, not with machines, but with touch, with closeness, with kisses. Jake was stunned. So, when you kissed me the first time, I didn't know you, she said. But in that moment I felt something. I didn't want you to be hurt, and that feeling made it work. She walked to the center of the room, holding the crystal close to her chest. They tried to remove my emotions, she said. They took out this core. They told me I was too unstable, but the truth is I was too human. The walls rumbled again, this time louder, closer. The hunter was now in the tunnel. Jake stepped beside her. "We need to get out of here." "No," she said, turning to him. "You need to get out of here." "What?" "No, not without you." She looked at him, her voice shaking slightly. "If I fight the hunter now, I may not survive, but you still have time." Jake took her hand. "Then I'll stay." She looked at his hand, surprised. "Why?" she whispered. "Because I care," he said. And in that moment something changed. A new light surrounded them, soft, warm, powerful. The crystal between them pulsed faster. Her eyes widened. "You feel it too?" "Yeah," he said. "I don't know what this is, but I'm not leaving you alone." A loud crash interrupted them. The back wall exploded inward. Fire and smoke poured through. The hunter stepped into view. It was even larger up close. Metal skin, glowing spine, red eyes that locked onto them immediately. "Target located," it said. "Terminate connection. Remove emotion core." The alien girl stepped forward. "You will not take it," she said. "You will not erase what I feel." "Emotion is a virus," the hunter replied. "Purge is necessary." It raised one massive arm, charging a blue beam. Jake moved forward, but she held out a hand. "Stay behind me." She opened her palms, revealing the crystal. It floated above her now, spinning in the air, glowing with energy. The hunter fired. A blast of light shot across the room. But just before it hit, she kissed Jake, and this kiss was different. It was longer, stronger, full of something Jake had never felt before, not just healing, but memory, thought, pain, hope. Images flashed in his mind, her training, her escape, her loneliness, her fear of humans, her curiosity about Earth, her wonder when he first smiled at her. And now, her fear of losing him. Then, the blast hit the shield around them and exploded into sparks. She pulled back, breathless. Jake felt energy rushing through him, not just his body, his mind, like his soul had grown brighter. "What was that?" he asked. "The true kiss," she whispered. "Our connection is complete," the hunter roared. Connection detected. Danger level. Extreme. It charged again. This time, she moved first. She lifted her hands, and energy exploded from her body. Blue lightning cracked through the air, blasting the hunter back. It screamed as metal peeled from its skin, but it wasn't enough. It charged again. Jake grabbed a metal rod from the floor. "We fight together." He ran forward, dodging the hunter's claw, and slammed the rod into its leg. Sparks flew. The alien girl jumped high, twisting midair, and fired a pulse straight into its chest. The hunter screamed. One more shot, and its core exploded. The machine fell, burning. The room was silent again. Jake stood beside her, both of them breathing hard. "You did it," he said. She looked at him. "We did it." He smiled. "So what now?" She looked down at the crystal. "Now I must choose." "Choose what?" "Do I return to space or stay here with you?" He looked at her. "You already know the answer." She smiled gently, but then her smile faded. A voice crackled in her ear. Something only she could hear. "Unit A7, it said. Stand down. Surrender. Last warning." She looked at Jake. "They're still coming," she said. "More than hunters. An entire ship. And this time they won't just try to erase me. They'll erase this whole forest to do it." Jake's face hardened. "Then we don't run. We get ready." Captured, the hunter's body still burned. Flames licked the edges of its shattered armor, the glowing red eyes now dim. Smoke curled toward the ceiling of the underground lab. Jake stood next to the alien girl, both breathing hard, both shaken, but alive. Outside, the forest was too quiet. She held the blue crystal in one hand, her other hand resting against the wall. Her body was still glowing, but weaker now. Using that much energy had cost her something again. "You okay?" Jake asked. She didn't speak for a moment. "They're coming," she finally whispered. The real ones. He frowned. Real ones? Soldiers, she said. Not machines, not drones. These will not stop until I'm taken or dead. A silence hung in the air. Jake wanted to say something brave, something hopeful, but for the first time, he didn't know what to say. The fear was real now. We should run, he said. We can't outrun them, she replied. They'll scan everything, burn everything. Then we fight, he said. She turned toward him. You're only human. Yeah, he said, gripping the metal rod tighter. But I've got one hell of a reason to fight. She looked at him for a long moment. Something soft in her expression, almost like guilt. Before she could speak again, the wall behind them exploded. A blinding white light filled the room. Voices shouted in a strange language. Heavy boots slammed against the ground. Red dots appeared on Jake's chest, her head, her hands. Don't move, a deep voice said, in perfect English. Jake raised his hands. So did she. They were surrounded by 6 armored figures, tall, silver armor, glowing visors. 2 of them held weapons that hummed with energy. 1 carried a scanner. The 6th looked different, taller, darker armor, no visible weapon. He stepped forward. Unit A7. By command of the Council, you are to be taken back immediately. She said nothing. Resist, the commander said, and the human dies first. Jake felt his blood freeze. Her hands tightened. Leave him, she said. Can't do that, the commander replied. You bonded with him, which makes him valuable. We'll take him too. Before Jake could react, a flash of light hit his chest. Everything went dark. He woke up inside a cold metal cell. Dim blue lights glowed from the walls. The air was heavy, recycled. No windows, just silence and soft humming. He sat up slowly. His head ached. His arm had a bruise where he had been hit. Where am I? His voice echoed. The door slid open. 2 guards entered. Between them, her, no armor, no weapons, just her silver suit. Her glow was gone. You okay? He asked quickly. She nodded, weakly. I'm sorry. What happened? We're on the ship, she said. Orbit. They took us both. So now what? Trial? Execution? She looked down. Reprogramming. What does that mean? They'll erase my thoughts, my feelings, the connection. They'll turn me back into what I was supposed to be. And me? She didn't answer. Then she stepped forward and whispered something. There's a way out. His eyes widened. You have a plan? Yes, she said. But you won't like it. The guards pulled her back. Wait, Jake shouted. The door closed again. Hours passed, maybe more. Then, an alarm. Red lights flashed. Shouts echoed outside. The door to his cell burst open. She stood there, different now, glowing again, eyes burning bright. One of the guards' weapons in her hand. Come on, she said. No time. He ran to her. How did you? I pretended to surrender, she said. But the bond with you, it grew stronger, stronger than they thought. It gave me access to systems they can't block. You hacked them? With emotion, she said, almost smiling. That's something they don't understand. They ran through the corridor. The ship was in chaos. Lights flashed. Doors opened and shut. Voices shouted over comms. They reached a command room. She plugged the crystal into a panel. The screens around them flickered. I'm unlocking escape pods, she said. Then let's go. Before she could finish, the commander stepped into the room, his armor cracked, one eye glowing red. You've learned nothing, he said coldly. He raised his weapon. Jake moved to shield her, but she stepped forward. No more running. She lifted her hand, and blue energy shot forward. The commander blocked it, but barely. Sparks flew across the room. Jake grabbed a steel bar and swung it into the commander's arm. It shattered. She hit him with another pulse. He flew back, hit the wall, and didn't move. Everything fell silent again. Jake turned to her. Are we clear? She nodded. For now, they entered the pod room. A small ship waited, enough for two. Before getting in, she looked at him. Once we leave, there's no going back. Do you want to go back? She looked into his eyes. I want to stay. With you. They entered. The pod. The door shut. The ship launched, blasting into space, heading toward Earth. As they sat in silence, the stars outside rushed past like fireflies. Jake turned to her. You said the bond was stronger? Yes, she said softly. Strong enough to heal. Strong enough to resist control. Strong enough to make me choose. And you chose me? Yes, she said. But not just to save you. Because you reminded me I was more than a weapon. Looked at her glowing face, then leaned close. Then maybe next time. Let me kiss you. She smiled and nodded. As the stars grew brighter and Earth appeared below them, Jake knew this was no longer just about surviving. This was about fighting for something new, something worth living for. The dangerous cure, the escape pod, tore through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star. Inside, silence. Jake sat against the wall, eyes closed, sweat on his forehead. Pale, breathing hard. His hands trembled. The alien girl, now glowing again but visibly scared, knelt beside him. She held his face gently. Stay with me, she whispered. He tried to speak, but only a soft groan came out. His chest rose and fell unevenly. They had made it out of the enemy ship. They had fought machines, escaped hunters, and defied a system built to erase her. But now, he was dying. His body is shutting down, she said aloud, voice shaky. Why? He wasn't wounded. She placed a hand over his heart. A weak rhythm pulsed beneath her fingers. Her connection to him, the bond, was still there, but flickering. The reprogramming cell, she whispered. They did something. Poison? Virus? A soft alarm beeped. The pod system flashed red. Life signal weakening. Human organ failure detected. Her hands shook. The pod would land soon, but Jake didn't have minutes left. She pressed her lips to his. Nothing happened. She tried again, longer, deeper, pouring everything she had into the kiss. But still, nothing. Tears welled in her eyes. Why isn't it working? The pod shook violently as it hit the edge of Earth's sky, descending fast through clouds and fire. A voice echoed in her mind, an old voice, from her creators. The bond is only a spark. To truly save life, you must risk your own. Her eyes widened. That's the truth, she whispered. It's not just about caring. It's about giving. She looked down at Jake. His lips were pale now, eyes barely open. She held his hand tightly. Listen to me, she said. You once said you'd stay with me, now it's my turn. As the pod hit the ground and crashed through trees, she made her choice. Hours later, Jake woke up. His body ached all over. Every breath felt heavy. But he was alive. Sunlight filtered through the broken top of the pod. Birds chirped outside. He sat up slowly. Hello? His voice cracked. No answer. He looked around and then he saw her, lying still at the other end of the pod, eyes closed, skin dim. No glow, barely breathing. He crawled to her, panic rising fast. Hey, wake up. Nothing. He grabbed her hand, it was cold. Then he saw the core crystal beside her, cracked down the middle. No. What did you do? Her eyelids twitched slightly. Her voice was barely a whisper. I gave too much. Why? Jake asked, eyes wet. You didn't have to. She opened her eyes a little. I did. You were the first thing I ever chose. He held her face, heart pounding. Stay with me, he said. A faint smile appeared on her lips. Then kiss me. He didn't hesitate. He leaned in and kissed her, full of everything he felt. All the fear, hope, anger, confusion, love. Not just a kiss, but a return. A gift back. A soft blue light flickered between them. Slow, then stronger. Her body warmed. The glow returned. Her eyes opened fully, bright, alive. "You saved me," she whispered. "I think we saved each other," Jake replied. They sat in silence, leaning against each other inside the wrecked pod, surrounded by a world that had no idea what had just happened. But peace never lasts. A sharp sound rang out from the forest, then another. Footsteps. Metal clanks. Voices. "They're here," she said, standing quickly. "But not my people." Jake peeked through the cracked door of the pod. Humans. Military gear. Black helmets. "Strange tech." One of them pointed. "We found them." "Hands up!" A soldier shouted. Jake stepped out first, arms raised. Wait, she's not a threat." The alien girl stepped beside him, still glowing faintly. Guns clicked. "Don't shoot," Jake shouted. "She saved me." But the soldiers didn't lower their weapons. A man in a suit walked forward. No armor. Calm eyes. A badge marked with 3 letters. ARI. Alien Research Initiative. He looked at the girl. "Subject A7. We've been tracking you since orbit." She stepped back slightly. "Don't be afraid," the man said. "We want to help." Jake narrowed his eyes. "Yeah? Or put her in a lab?" "No," the man replied. "We want to understand. The world's changing, and she may be the first step towards something better." The girl looked at Jake. He nodded slowly. "Only if she chooses." The man looked at her. "Well?" he asked. "Will you come with us?" She looked at Jake, then at the soldiers, then back at him. "Only if he comes too." "Fine," the man said. "But no more secrets." She smiled faintly. "No more." As they walked toward the waiting transport, Jake whispered to her, "You almost died for me. You made me feel alive," she replied. "And what now?" "Now," she said, "we find out what this bond can really do." One last kiss, 3 weeks later. The skies above the secret ARI base were calm, but inside, tension boiled. The alien girl stood inside a glowing chamber, cables connected to her palms, back, and temples. Around her, scientists watched from behind glass. Screens showed her vitals, energy pulses, brain activity, life signals. She didn't move. But her mind was racing. On the other side of the glass, Jake stood beside Director Moran, the man who had promised to understand her, not control her. But Jake didn't trust him, not fully, and now something felt wrong. "What are they doing to her?" Jake asked, voice sharp. Moran didn't look away from the screen. "Testing her limits," he said. "Her healing ability, her neural link, her emotional core. All for safety, of course." "You said she volunteered," Jake said. "She did," Moran replied, "but only because she cares about you. That's the real power, isn't it? Care. Connection." Moran turned toward Jake, voice lower now. "But love is unstable, unpredictable, it's beautiful and dangerous." Jake stepped forward. "You're pushing her too far." Moran raised a hand. "If we can unlock what's inside her, we can cure disease, stop aging, maybe even end war. Or start a new kind," Jake snapped. Behind the glass, the girl twitched. A spark flew from one of the cables. An alarm beeped. "Energy levels rising," a scientist said. "Too fast." Moran leaned in. "Don't stop it. Let her go further." Jake's fists tightened. Inside the chamber, her eyes opened. They were glowing white. Too white. Then came the voice. Not hers, not human. "She is not yours anymore." The lights shattered. The cables snapped. A wave of blue-white energy exploded from the chamber, shattering glass, knocking people to the floor. Jake shielded his face. When he looked up, she was floating, eyes white, hair like fire, hands pulsing with light. But her face, cold, unfeeling. "What did you do?" Jake shouted. Moran crawled to his feet. "We unlocked her core too fast, too deep." Jake rushed toward her, stepping through broken glass. "Hey, It's me, Jake. She looked down at him, nothing in her expression. You're not safe, she said, voice echoing strangely. None of you are. He stepped closer. This isn't you. This is what they did to you. A tremor shook the floor. Lights flickered. Sirens screamed. Contain her, Moran shouted. Soldiers rushed in, but with one motion, she sent a wave of energy that lifted them into the air and gently dropped them, unconscious. Jake didn't flinch. He reached up and placed his hand on her cheek. Come back. Her eyes blinked. For a moment, blue, then white again. They hurt you, she whispered. They wanted to turn me into something else. Don't let them, he said. You're more than what they made you. I'm too powerful now. So was love, Jake said. So is choice. And you chose me, remember? Her lips trembled. I don't want to hurt you. Then kiss me, he whispered. Bring yourself back. She hesitated. The whole room pulsed with pressure. The world felt like it would break apart. And then she leaned in and kissed him. Everything went quiet. His mind filled with stars, time, music, light, but also her. He saw her fear, her memory, her love, and then her peace. When their lips parted, she collapsed into his arms. Her glow faded, her breathing slowed, her voice just a whisper. I'm me again. He held her close, tears in his eyes. You came back, but alarm still blared. Outside, the base was surrounded. Moran had triggered a protocol. If the alien threat couldn't be contained, it would be erased. Missiles, war drones, satellites armed with focused plasma. Everything was now targeting her. Jake helped her to her feet. We need to leave. She nodded weakly. There's a way, but it's one way. He helped her outside. The sky was red with warning lights. The world had turned against them, but she raised her hands and opened a rift in the air. Space itself shimmered, a gateway. Where does it go? Jake asked. My world, she said. A hidden place outside time. They can't follow. Will you be safe? Yes. But what about me? She looked at him. You can come, but you'll never come back. Jake looked at the chaos around them. The weapons pointed. The fear. He looked at her. Tired, glowing faintly, still beautiful, still real. And he smiled. Then take me with you. Hand in hand, they stepped into the light. Behind them, the weapons fired but struck only empty air. They were gone. Months later, a news report played quietly. Strange activity over the ARI base remains unexplained. No bodies were found. The base was destroyed in what officials call a containment failure, but one name keeps surfacing: Jake Mercer, a civilian who vanished the same night. His last words, caught on an open mic, were, "Tell them she wasn't the threat." She was the cure. Miles away, in a forest where stars blinked closer than they should, a soft blue light flickered under the trees, and in the shadows, two figures walked, hand in hand, laughing. Final scene: Jake sat near a small fire, looking up at the alien sky, 2 moons above, the air soft, warm, no war. No fear. She sat beside him. You ever miss Earth? She asked. He nodded. Sometimes. Regret it? He looked at her and smiled. Not even for a second. She leaned closer. How do humans say thank you? She asked. He grinned. Well, sometimes. We kiss. She laughed softly and kissed him. One last kiss.